Yo, 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 your boy's back with the most hilarious breakdown in hip-hop history. Reminder, this content is for comedic and entertainment purposes only. Nothing presented here is intended to be factual, defamatory. And I'm about to expose something that had me crying when I finally realized it. Like, I had to pause the track, rewind it, and just sit there in disbelief at the audacity. So check this out. Kendrick Lamar drops Not Like Us, right? And this track is surgical. Every single bar is calculated, every single line is truth, every single word is designed to destroy Drake's entire existence. But there's one line, just one line in this entire masterpiece where Kendrick lied. And when I caught it, I was like, yo, this man really just said that with a straight face? Let me play it for you real quick. The audience not dumb, Drake, they're not slow. Y'all, that's the lie. That's the only lie in the entire track. Drake's fans are slow, they are dumb, and I'm about to prove it to you with receipts, with evidence, with undeniable facts that will have you rolling. Today, we're breaking down the most savage verse Kendrick ever spit and the one hilarious lie he told in it. And trust me, by the time we're done, you're gonna understand why this is the most generous, most charitable, most gracious lie ever told in a diss track. Buckle up, because this is about to get surgical, disrespectful, and downright comedic. We're talking about a fan base so delusional, they make flat earthers look reasonable. We're talking about mental gymnastics that would win Olympic gold. We're talking about denial so deep, it's got its own zip sewed. If you're ready to witness the most hilarious roast of a fan base in hip-hop history, we about to break down why Kendrick was too nice when he said Drake's fans aren't dumb. Because oh boy, do I have evidence to the contrary. Let's set the stage for y'all, because context is everything. We're talking about Kendrick versus Drake, the biggest rap beef of the 2020s. This ain't just bars, this ain't just music, this is psychological warfare at its finest. Kendrick drops Not Like Us, and it's not just a diss track, it's a cultural reset. It's a surgical procedure. It's a masterclass in how to dismantle someone's entire career, reputation, and legacy in under 5 minutes. But here's what makes Kendrick different from every other rapper who's ever been in beef. He doesn't just attack Drake, he attacks Drake's entire ecosystem. He goes after the fans, the enablers, the yes men, the whole apparatus that keeps Drake's fraudulent career afloat. And in verse 2, Kendrick does something brilliant. He's breaking down how Drake manipulates public perception, how he uses his fan base as a shield, how he relies on people being too dumb to see through his act. And then Kendrick says, and I quote, "The audience not dumb. Drake, they're not slow."
Go. The audience not dumb. Shape the stories how you want. Hey Drake, they're not slow. Rabbit hole is still.
No, some of them are actually fucking slow. Like 80% of them are actually slow. Kendrick, you're giving them far too much credit. Trust me.
On the surface, this seems like Kendrick is being respectful to the general public, right? He's saying, look, people aren't stupid. They can see through Drake's BS. But here's where it gets hilarious, because if you've spent any time online, if you've seen any of the discourse around this beef, if you've witnessed any of the mental gymnastics Drake's fans have performed, you know that line is the biggest lie Kendrick ever told. Because Drake's fans, they are dumb, they are slow. They're slower than Internet Explorer on a dial-up connection. They're moving like they're stuck in quicksand. They're operating with the processing power of a calculator from 1985. And I'm not just saying this to be mean. I got receipts, I got evidence, I got examples that will have you questioning how these people function in society. The irony is thick, y'all. In a verse about manipulation, Kendrick manipulates us by being too generous. He gave Drake's fans more credit than they deserve. That's the only time Kendrick missed, by being too nice. And that's what we're breaking down today. We're gonna examine the delusion, the denial, the absolute mental gymnastics that Drake's fanbase has performed to avoid accepting reality. We're gonna look at the excuses, the spin, the revisionist history. This is gonna be educational and hilarious at the same time, because watching Drake's fans try to defend the indefensible is like watching someone try to convince you that water isn't wet. It's fascinating in its absurdity. So let's get into it. Let's break down why Kendrick's "the audience not dumb" line is the most charitable lie in diss track history. Let's expose the delusion. Let's roast the denial. Let's laugh at the mental gymnastics. And remember, this ain't about hating on people for liking an artist. This is about calling out the willful ignorance, the deliberate blindness, the Olympic-level mental gymnastics that Drake's fans perform to avoid accepting that their favorite artist got destroyed. Alright, let's start with Exhibit A in the case of Drake's fans are absolutely, positively, undeniably slow.
Yeah, apparently you're not the West Coast savior either. Drake's out here using AI voiceovers of Tupac to dish you, and you're just sitting here spitting Bible quotes. Nah, wait, hold up. He did what? You didn't hear Taylor made freestyle? He used Tupac and Snoop Dogg's voices to dish you. Bum. Bum? Are you implying that you're about to drop another verse like that, or are you just calling Drake a bum? Nigga, bum!
And this one is a classic example of the mental gymnastics I'm talking about. Remember Taylor Made Freestyle? The track where Drake used AI voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg? Yeah, that disaster. Now any reasonable person will look at what happened and say, okay, Drake made a mistake, he got legally shut down, he took an L, let's move on. But Drake's fans? Oh no. They said it was strategic, it was genius, it was 4D chess. Strategic? The man got cease and desisted by a dead rapper's estate. Tupac's people had to come back from the grave to tell Drake to sit down. That's not strategy, that's a legal faceplant. Let me break down what actually happened, because the delusion around this is insane. Drake drops Taylor Made Freestyle using AI-generated voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg to taunt Kendrick. Now, already this is weird, right? You're in a beef with someone, so you use dead legends' voices to fight your battle? That's like showing up to a boxing match with your dad. But it gets worse. Tupac's estate immediately sends a cease and desist. They're like, yo, take this down right now or we're suing. And Drake complies. He takes it down within 24 hours. Now, in what universe is getting legally threatened and having to remove your diss track considered a win? In what reality is that strategic? But watch the delusion from Drake's fans. They started spinning this immediately. Oh, Drake knew this would happen. He wanted the attention. He was just trolling. It's all part of the plan. The plan? The plan was to get legally threatened and look like a fool. That's the worst plan I've ever heard. That's like saying, I'm gonna punch myself in the face for attention. Like, yeah, you'll get attention, but you'll also look stupid. And the mental gymnastics didn't stop there. Drake's fans started saying, well, the track served its purpose. It got people talking. It put pressure on Kendrick. Put pressure on Kendrick? Kendrick? The man who responded with "Not Like Us" and ended Drake's entire career? That pressure? This is like saying, I threw a pebble at a tank and it served its purpose because the tank noticed me. Yeah, the tank noticed you right before it ran you over. But here's where it gets even more delusional. Drake's fans started rewriting history in real time. They started saying, Drake was making a statement about AI and music. He was starting a conversation. A conversation? He was trying to diss Kendrick and got legally shut down. That's not starting a conversation, that's getting silenced. This is fan fiction PR at its finest. They're out here rewriting history like they're on Wikipedia with no fact checker. They're creating narratives that have no basis in reality. And the wildest part? Some of Drake's fans started saying, well, at least Drake was creative. At least he tried something different. Creative? Using AI to make dead rappers fight your battles is creative? That's not creative, that's desperate. That's like a ventriloquist using a dummy to insult someone. It's weird and cowardly. Let me put this in perspective for y'all. Imagine you're in an argument with someone, and instead of using your own voice, you use a recording of Martin Luther King Jr. to make your point. And then MLK's estate sues you and makes you stop. Would anybody call that strategic? Would anybody call that genius? No, they call you weird and legally reckless. But Drake's fans, they'll spin anything. They're like, nah, that was the plan all along. He wanted to get sued. It's all part of the strategy. What strategy? The make myself look stupid strategy? The get legally threatened strategy? The prove Kendrick right about me being desperate strategy? And here's the thing that kills me. Drake's fans will defend this with a straight face. They'll type out these long explanations about how this was actually a brilliant move. They'll create timelines and theories. It's like watching someone try to explain how jumping off a building is actually a smart way to get downstairs. Like, yeah, you'll get down, but you're gonna be broken when you land. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. These fans watched Drake get legally shut down, watched him have to remove his track, watched him take a public L, and they still found a way to call it a win. This is the fan base that Kendrick said, not dumb. This is the audience he said, not slow. And I'm like, Kendrick, my brother, you are too generous. Because if you can watch someone get cease and desisted by a dead rapper's estate and call it strategic, you might need.
Meet the Grams, but Family Matters dropped 20 minutes ago. Were you ready for this? Whoa, what's going on with the lights? Drake, you f***ed up when you used Pac's voice. Now it's time to meet the boogeyman.
Because if you can watch someone get cease and desisted by a dead rapper's estate and call it strategic, you might need to get your brain checked. That's not analysis, that's delusion. But wait, it gets better, because Tailor Made was just the beginning of the mental gymnastics. Let's move on to Exhibit B. Now we're getting into the really delusional territory. Let's talk about Drake's lawsuit against Universal Music Group and Spotify, because this is where Drake's fans really showed their Olympic level mental gymnastics. For those who don't know, Drake filed legal petitions claiming that UMG and Spotify artificially inflated the streams of Not Like Us. He was basically saying the only reason Kendrick's diss track is successful is because of bots and manipulation. Now, any reasonable person would look at this and say, wow, Drake is really desperate. He's suing instead of responding with music. This is weak. But Drake's fans? They said, it's 4D chess. It's genius. Drake is exposing the industry. 4D chess? He got his case dismissed faster than a parking ticket. No win, no strategy, just embarrassment. Let me break down the delusion here because it's layered. First, Drake files these petitions in December 2024, and immediately Drake's fans start spinning it as some kind of masterstroke. Oh, Drake is so smart. He's using the legal system to expose corruption. He's fighting for all artists. Fighting for all artists. This man is fighting for his ego. He got destroyed in a rap beef, and instead of responding with music like every other rapper in history, he ran to lawyers. But the fans were out here creating these elaborate theories. Drake is playing 5D chess. He's going to expose the whole industry. This is bigger than just the beef. 5D chess? The man filed a lawsuit that legal experts immediately said had no chance of winning. That's not chess, that's checkers with half the pieces missing. Entertainment lawyers were going on podcasts and radio shows saying, this case is weak. Drake has almost no chance. Diss tracks are protected speech. But Drake's fans were like, nah, y'all don't understand the strategy. What strategy? The waste money on lawyers strategy? The look desperate strategy? The prove Kendrick right about everything strategy? And then the spin started. Drake's fans started saying, well, even if he doesn't win, he's making a statement. He's starting a conversation about streaming manipulation. A statement. The statement is, I can't beat Kendrick with bars, so I'm trying to beat him with lawyers. That's the statement. Let me compare this to real hip-hop beef so y'all can see how pathetic this is. When Nas dropped Ether and destroyed Jay-Z, did Jay-Z sue? No. He came back with Takeover and Super Ugly. He responded with music. When Pusha T exposed Drake's secret child with The Story of Adidon, did Drake sue? No. He took the L and moved on. He understood that's part of hip-hop culture. When 50 Cent destroyed Ja Rule's entire career with diss tracks, did Ja Rule sue? No. He tried to respond with music. He lost, but at least he played by the rules. But Drake in 2024, he said, forget the rules, get me a lawyer, I'm going to court. And his fans called it chess. They called it strategy. They called it genius. This is like watching someone lose a basketball game and then sue the other team for playing too well. It's absurd. But the mental gymnastics didn't stop there. When legal experts started explaining why Drake's case was weak, Drake's fans started attacking the experts. These lawyers don't understand. They're biased. They're Kendrick fans. They don't see the bigger picture. The bigger picture? The bigger picture is that your favorite artist got destroyed in a rap beef, and instead of taking it like a man, he ran to the courts like a child. And then, the ultimate delusion. When Drake withdrew his petitions in January 2025, his fans still found a way to spin it as a win. Oh, Drake accomplished what he wanted. He exposed the industry. He made his point. He was never trying to win the case. What? He filed a lawsuit. The whole point of a lawsuit is to win. You don't file legal documents just to make a point. That's not how the legal system works. This is like saying, I didn't want to win the race, I just wanted to participate after you come in last place. The cognitive dissonance is astronomical. These fans watch Drake file a weak lawsuit, get roasted by the entire hip-hop community, get told by legal experts he had no case, withdraw the lawsuit in embarrassment, and they still found a way to call it a strategic victory. Let's compare the reactions because this is where you really see the difference.
Kendrick, we're cool, right? Yeah, why wouldn't we be? Oh, no reason, I just had to be sure, but I just heard your diss track Meet the Grams, and that is one of the most evil things I've ever heard. Is that really how you feel about Drake? Can you give us your honest opinion on this man? He lied about religious views, he lied about his surgery, he lied about his accents and his past tense, all his perjury. Whoa, Kendrick, calm down, I'm just an interviewer. He lied about his ghostwriters, he lied about his crew members, they all pussy, he lied on them, I know he all got you with. Bro, please remember, I'm not Drake, I'm not your enemy. You lied about your son, you lied about your daughter, huh? Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walk him down whole time. I know he got some hoe in him, po in him, extort shit, bully defrowing him. Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better never go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chelsea the only one to get your hand-me-downs. So, Drake dropped the Heart Part 6. Yep. He definitely did. Ain't no love for you, ball boy. Let's Gatorade or something. Since 2009, I had this bitch jumping. You niggas will get a wedgie. He flipped over your boxes. What's over your foe? The other vaginal option? Pussy?
When Kendrick drops a track, his fans analyze it. They break down the bars, they discuss the meaning, they appreciate the craft. When Drake files a lawsuit, his fans call it genius. They don't question it, they don't analyze it, they just defend it. This is the difference between a fan base that appreciates art and a fan base that's in a cult. Kendrick fans, wow, that wordplay was incredible, the way he structured that verse. Drake fans, Drake sued someone, that's 4D chess. We don't understand it, but it's genius. The delusion is real, y'all. And here's what kills me. Drake's fans were out here saying, this is unprecedented. No one's ever done this before. Yeah, it's unprecedented because it's stupid. No one's done it before because every other rapper understood that you don't sue over a diss track. You respond with music. But Drake's fans took the fact that it was unprecedented and turned it into a positive. Oh, Drake is a pioneer. He's changing the game. Changing the game, he's embarrassing the game. He's making hip-hop look soft. This is like saying, I'm the first person to wear a chicken costume to a funeral. I'm a pioneer. Like, yeah, you're the first, but that's because everyone else had common sense. The mental gymnastics are Olympic level. These fans are doing backflips, cartwheels, and triple axels to avoid accepting reality. And the reality is simple. Drake got destroyed by Kendrick, couldn't respond with music, and tried to use the legal system instead. That's not strategy, that's desperation. But Drake's fans, they're out here writing dissertations on why this was actually brilliant. They're creating timelines, they're making charts. It's like watching someone try to explain how the Titanic sinking was actually part of the plan. No, you don't understand. They wanted to hit the iceberg. It was strategic. No, they hit an iceberg and sank. Just like Drake hit Kendrick's diss track and his career sank. But the fans will never admit it. They'll spin it, they'll reframe it, they'll create alternative narratives. Because admitting Drake lost would mean admitting they were wrong. And that's the core of the delusion. It's not about Drake anymore, it's about their own egos. They've invested so much time and energy defending Drake that they can't admit he lost. This is sunk cost fallacy at its finest. They're in too deep to turn back now. Alright, now we're getting to Exhibit C, and this is where the delusion reaches peak levels. Let's talk about the Drake was just trolling excuse. So after everything, after TaylorMade got shut down, after the lawsuit got dismissed, after Not Like Us dominated the charts, after Drake's reputation got destroyed, his fans had one final defense. Drake was just trolling. He wasn't serious. It's all performance art. Trolling. This man's reputation got destroyed so bad, he had to hire lawyers. That's not trolling. That's damage control. Let me break down why this excuse is the dumbest of all the dumb excuses. First of all, let's define trolling. Trolling is when you do something to get a reaction, but you're in control. You're not actually affected. You're just poking the bear for fun. But Drake, he's not in control. He's reacting. He's responding.
Your boy
He's
out.
Desperate.
Peace.
That's not trolling. That's flailing. When Kendrick drops Not Like Us and it goes #1 and Drake files a lawsuit, that's not trolling, that's panic. When Drake's streaming numbers drop, when his reputation tanks, when the culture turns against him, that's not trolling, that's consequences. But Drake's fans will look at all of this and say, nah, he's just trolling. He's getting y'all mad. He's living rent-free in your heads. Living rent-free? He's paying lawyers. He's losing money. He's losing respect. That's not rent-free. That's expensive. Let me give you a comparison so you understand how absurd this excuse is. Imagine someone gets in a fight, gets knocked out, wakes up in the hospital, and then says, I was just trolling. I wanted to get knocked out. That was the plan. Would anybody believe that? No, because that's insane. But Drake's fans will watch their favorite artist get destroyed and say, he's just trolling, with a straight face. The cognitive dissonance is unreal. Let's break down the actual damage Drake took, because this is important. His reputation? Destroyed. Before Not Like Us, Drake was considered one of the biggest artists in hip-hop. After Not Like Us, he's considered a fraud. His cultural authority? Gone. Drake used to be a tastemaker. Now he's a joke. His streaming numbers? Declining. Drake used to dominate the charts. Now he's struggling to maintain relevance. His legal standing? Embarrassing. He filed lawsuits and had to withdraw them. His fan base? Divided. Even some of his own fans are questioning him. But according to Drake's fans, this is all part of the troll. He wanted all of this to happen. The delusion is stag. Alright fam, stay tuned for part 2 of this delusion and lie, which I will drop tonight. Your boy out. Peace.